Hey you guys, welcome back to Michael Clarida Arts. Today I'm super excited, man. I can't believe that I'm this excited. We're going to be doing something that we've done in the past and that I really enjoy doing. Not only is this a drawing channel, this is a channel that also does an occasional review of products that are currently in the marketplace or something that's going to be coming out soon. You guys know that I review tablets, I review pretty much any peripheral. If it applies to drawing or the artistic space that we live in, I'm going to accept an invitation to review a product. Case in point, the wonderful people over there at XPPen have asked me to review one of their tablets, take it on a little test drive, and see how it is applicable to my universe, which is illustration. For those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, you know I don't really talk too much about my professional career. I'm more or less trying to teach you about the tools about illustration drawing and kind of encourage you to kind of step out of your proverbial box. So to give you context, I'm an illustrator, artist, product designer, painter. Gosh, I'm what's known as a generalist, and a generalist is somebody that kind of dips their paintbrush into a myriad of different areas, from digital art to traditional art. So if you can see behind me, you see my work palette, and you can see numerous tablets and digital devices around my studio. And I also do watercolor, I do sculpting, I do traditional sculpting in clay, I do digital sculpting in ZBrush, and my professional career is more or less a toy designer. So I design toys and things for young children and adults to play with, whether it's a collectible or a toy that you know, maybe you might pick up as a memory from a theme park or in the retail market. That's what I do. And I also do illustration and package design, so I kind of cover a very broad stroke of you know, traditional and digital disciplines. So that is why a lot of companies look at me and they want to know what I think about their products, and XPPen is one of them. So they reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to review the Artist Pro 16 TP Artist Display, the pen display? So I was like, oh my gosh, why, yes I would. So what makes this particular product different than some of the other products that are in the XPPen lineup? So this device is, you know, it's very similar. It's a display tablet, so you're going to actually draw on the tablet. Now, it doesn't have a CPU that it can stand alone, so you do need a host machine. But this particular product, I think, is what is known as a flagship product. So flagship being something that they put out in the marketplace that really exemplifies their forward movement, going forward, obviously, and showing what they can do, right? This particular product has 4K. It also has touch, and some of the other smaller little indications and features of this product, such as having a bonded screen, such as having a metal back, such as having a matte surface, but not really too shiny. It is shiny, the surface is shiny, but it's not too shiny to where it's, you know, you need to put something on it. It just depends on your preference. But I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do an unboxing of this product, and then we're gonna talk about drawing on the product, and then we're gonna do a little short demo. I'm not gonna get too deep into the extensive drawing process on the machine, even though that's what we do. A lot of times the drawing takes hours upon hours to do, and honestly, you know, some of the times people don't really want super long reviews. They do want to get in depth, but they don't want to sit down and watch somebody draw for 3 hours. So we are going to draw on it, and I am going to tell you right now, because I've already experimented with it somewhat, it is a great device, and I've, you know, been reviewing devices now for a few years, and this one is really, it was a surprise. So let's go ahead and get started with the review. Let's get knee-deep in drawing, and hopefully you'll learn something today. I'm always one to teach, tell you a couple stories about my career and where I've landed and what I'm doing at this particular point in time, and hopefully you'll enjoy the review. And definitely at the end, only if you enjoy, give it a thumbs up and a subscription, and hopefully you'll enjoy. So let's go ahead and get started. And here is the Artist Pro 16 TP drawing display. This, of course, is the box. I've already unboxed it from its outer shell that it came in. One of the things that I always like to note on is the package design. A lot of companies will just pre-package their items in just plain boxes, and XPPen goes the extra mile. They commission an artist to do incredibly beautiful artwork. They've done this on quite a few of their tablets, especially the display tablets, that really shows the prowess of the people they're in touch with and the artist community, and this is no different. This is kind of their, I call this particular tablet an experiment tablet, and we're going to do an unboxing really quick. For those of you who visit my channel, you know that I don't particularly quote-unquote like unboxings, the whole process, but I do like package design. It's kind of a dichotomy of thought, I guess. But I think it's important to get in here and show where they've placed the emphasis in terms of the package, the item itself. It's important to note that a lot of times what I'll notice is the package will reflect some of the design cues that are on the tablet itself, and also how they package it really takes note into my brain how they're going to effectively treat the tablet itself. So if it's a bad packaging, then maybe you'll see some of the fit and finish and the quality come out in the product itself, and that's kind of not a good thing. But from my experience with XPPen and the way they do things right. The shrink wrap is really good. You don't see a lot of buckling. The package itself has a nice two-tone sheen to it, so you have the matte artwork and then you have the shiny tablet. Those things, believe it or not, you look at those and you go, oh, that's really cool. But in a production sense, it takes money, it takes time, it takes effort. There's a different printing process that goes on whenever you're doing stuff like that. And XPPen will go that extra mile for that unboxing experience, because they want you to treat this as not only an experience, but a product that you're going to keep and respect and like and love and use for years and years to come. And that is something that I pay attention to, not only in the unboxing process, but also in the user experience process. Apple's really good at this as well, because they understand and know that the unboxing is part of the user experience. And if you just give somebody a brown box and call it a day, then they're going to say, wow, this really sucks. Okay, so the Artist Pro 16 TP drawing display is, in my opinion, an experiment. And what does that mean? It means that XPPen makes a lot of tablets. They make drawing tablets, they make display tablets, they do a lot of things that artists can really draw upon, no pun intended, draw upon to add to their drawing and user experience. So not every tablet they have in their lineup is ultra high definition, which is 4K. You guys have seen that terminology in the marketplace on televisions and other screens. And, XPPen has allotted this particular item to experiment with that 4K technology. And one of the other things that it has is touch. So a lot of the computers out there in the marketplace today have touch, and they wanted to, of course, delve into that genre to see if there's a market for it. This is one of their, I would call, premier tablets. Let's go ahead and slide it up. That resistance right there is part of the experience. Some boxes do it better than others. This one's probably as good as some of the higher end box manufacturers. There's nice resistance to it. And we come around, and I always like to see if there's a padded surface, which this one does not, but they do have nice wraparound, nice finish of the package itself. All right. Ooh, this is different. So most of the time you open it up and the tablet is just sitting here, and I noted that there's no padding on the inside of the box lid, but that's because they have artwork that continues into the box. That color and design motif, I guess, was created by Shan Jiang, who is the artist that created this beautiful line work and artwork that's on the outside of the box. So very careful. I see that there's a small decal sticker right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. We're going to go ahead and open this clamshell box. And there's the padding. I was just noting that there's no padding on the inside for the tablet itself. Man, wow. This is beautiful. Just the box itself. These hinges, the template, the padding, high quality padding, and of course you're greeted with Phoenix, who is their logo character for XPPen, indicating that if you have any issues or concerns with the tablet that you just purchased, they give them Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., probably United States time, and you can contact them. So, presentation, beautiful, nice contrast, and we're going to go ahead and slide the tablet itself out if I can. It's going to be a little challenging here. Sorry about that. Okay, let's go ahead and put this to the side really quick. And we're going to talk about the items that we see on the inside. Of course, we have a looks like a USB-C power brick that comes with the unit. This is interesting. Okay, so they've just placed a sticker decal over the items that they don't have included in the box, and I think they do that because this particular insert is probably something they utilize in other areas. Of course, you've got the XPPen little folder sleeve here that has these items that we've talked about before. User information, cleaning cloth, XPPen glove, which is included in, I believe, the majority of their display tablets, if not all of them. The quick start guide, which explains exactly what you get in the box, how to get started downloading drivers, the location where you download drivers, how to plug into your host machine, because this is not a standalone, this is a host machine. Or I'm sorry, this is a peripheral machine, so you have to plug this into a host, which would be possibly a PC or a Macintosh, and it is compatible with both of those operating systems. As I scroll through, because I have their website here on the right hand side, so this tablet, like I said, is probably what I would note as being an experiment, because you know, in terms of price point, in terms of manufacturing, you have people that need tablets at different price points and different needs, and this being a 4K tablet, to increase the size would probably affect their profit margin as well as their manufacturing capability. So at this size, 15.6, they call it a 16, but it's really 15.6. I think that this is right in that sweet spot for people that want a 4K tablet but don't want to pay over $1,000 for it. So right now, as I click on their website, oh my gosh. So regularly this tablet is $8.99 on their website. Right now it is on sale as of, let me see, as of November 4th, 2022, it is on sale for $674. So with 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity, 60 degrees of tilt, 4K screen, which supports it supports 92% of the Adobe RGB gamut and then 124% of the sRGB gamut, and it's got 1,000:1 contrast ratio. So it's got some serious chops when it comes to the display. I've seen this particular pen before, or at least the packaging. So we go ahead and extend it out. And again, that really high premium, this is made of metal, aluminum. The high premium pen, I am always astonished at the packaging they have for their most recent tablets. and their pen technology. This is all rubberized, and it comes with numerous nibs, and of course the pen itself, which is nice. It's got a very nice weight to it, almost a metallic feel, but it is plastic, high degree of quality plastics, and it's got an eraser. Not all the pens that they manufacture have erasers. This one does, and it fits right into its little home for travel. And this particular, I would equate this to not a cigar sleeve, but maybe you know, a great traveling companion, and it clicks right in, so you can put that in without having to worry that it's going to get damaged.
I didn't get that. Could you try?
And then we look at this, which is a USB-C to USB-C cable. It's important to note that not all USB-C cables are made the same. Some are just specifically for power. Others are power data transfer, and then others are capable of transferring video. You have to make sure and get the right cable when plugging these tablets in, because a lot of times you'll see that lo and behold, you don't have a signal. It's because the cable you're utilizing doesn't have the capability. So it looks like they've included 2 of these, which is very significant. I'm not really sure why. We'll look into this in just a moment. But both of these cables are extremely well made. They've got covers on all of the metal nibs, and they've got what I call them cable wranglers, which are these Velcro straps pre-attached. So again, we're looking at this from a standpoint of quality. So you have one of these cables that goes to power, one that goes to video, and then here is the, actually this is the, looks like a 2-in-1. So this is possibly a 2-in-1 cable. We're going to open this really quick because I'm interested in seeing it. So we've got a power cable, and it looks like an HDMI. So possibly this goes to power and then USB-C, or this might be the video cable that goes to not USB-C, but this goes USB, and this is USB-C, and this is HDMI. So we're going to get into plugging this machine in, but first let's make sure that we don't have anything under the box, which I don't think we do. I don't know what else would be in there. Sometimes you get a sleeve that the tablet will go in, but not in this case. So let's go ahead and put this to the side. And go ahead and show you the tablet. First of all, after picking it up, it is not light. I would equate this, I don't know how many ounces it is, but it's not like a chintzy light tablet. It's probably, I would say, half an inch, maybe half an inch thick. It's got nice rounded corners overall, and just by reading on the website here, it says it's got anti-glare, non-grainy glass. So it looks like a bonded glass. Some XPPen tablets come with a predetermined applied screen protector. This does not look like it has that. It looks basically like it's anti-glare glass. So this is bonded glass, which is very cool. It says combining eye strain relief technology with anti-glare glass screen minimizes visual interference from your surroundings, ensuring general image presentation and reducing eye fatigue. It's fully laminated, seamlessly combining the glass with the screen, so you're not going to have parallax, and if you do, it's slight, and it would probably be attributed to processor lag. It's got 4, I always note this, it's got 4 rubber back nibs, and it's got, looks like as far as connections go that are on the top, let's see, that looks, I don't know what that is. That's different. I wonder if that's a lock. Well, right there, I'm not recognizing that particular port. But these are 2 USB-Cs, it's got a power, and then it's got screen brightness up and down. And then these are probably the menu. Oh, it's got a button specifically to turn touch on and off. That is a convenience. Now, one of the things you see that it is lacking, and this is something that I always like to know, is the fact that it does not have any quick keys. Now that's important because the distinction between their Pro line and their Artist series, so you'll have the Artist series that does not have the quick keys, and then you'll have the Artist Pro series or the Pro line that has the quick keys. I am not a huge quick key guy as far as having them on the screen. I do know a lot of people use those, and I have pre-programmed those before, but the reality is I actually use this. This is something that I've had for probably about 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer. And this is just a simple little device run on a AAA battery, and it's a wireless dongle that you plug into the computer or a peripheral, and you pre-program the quick keys with the quick wheel, scroll wheel, and I just put this off to the side, and I can sit there and have that form factor that I'm so used to on my desktop. And it is absolutely a wonderful thing to have this. I've used it on Surface devices, Dell, I've used it on Lenovo, I've used it on my Hewlett-Packard ZBook. This particular device is about $40, $50. Amazon and their website, and it's made by XPPen. So I know other manufacturers do create these, but I've grown used to and accustomed to this form factor, and I love this. I love the tactile feel. It's very similar, and I can just literally, I've got this in my muscle memory now, and I sit there and I draw, and I can move it, and I plug it in, and it's just great. So overall, I think the fit and finish and the quality of this particular tablet so far is absolutely phenomenal. I'm anxious to see the touch feature. And like I said, it does have 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity with 60 degrees of tilt. So let's go ahead and get her plugged in and get it running and put it through its paces. And one thing to note, that a lot of companies will utilize really high-end plastic for the backing, and that's completely fine. This is metal. So when I start feeling the quality of it, we all have that, you know, in us when we start touching technology. It's something that happens in our brains, that cold feeling of metal, and we suddenly realize, wow, this is a high-end product. I need to respect this, and I need to take care of it. One of the things that I do not see, and this is something that I'm actually a little surprised about, and maybe XPPen can take note in their marketing and their build and their production, is a stand. I think at this size there should be some type of stand included. I know some of the other manufacturers put stands that are, you know, whether it's two small little tabs that come out that flip out, or if they include a stand that they can just have it right here at this particular angle and you're drawing on your desk. Right now, I do have other stands that I will utilize, but I think that at this price point, this type of quality, this form factor, and this higher degree of just quality, I think a stand would really make this product stand out. And that's just my opinion, and I'm going to stick to it. So let's go ahead and get it hooked up to my Surface Laptop Studio, and we're going to put this through its paces and really see what it can do. And here's my setup. So currently I've got the 16P set up on a stand. This particular device does not come with a stand, and you know, that's always a disappointment because a lot of the same tablets at this price point do come with a stand. I think that if it did include a stand, that would be absolute perfection, but you know, I manage. I've got a stand for one of my other devices. The overall presentation of the screen, it being a 4K with that high saturation number for Adobe, because I've got my particular machine set up at the Adobe gamut, especially whenever I use Photoshop. It is beautiful. I did have to adjust the brightness on it because whenever I first hooked it up, it wasn't as bright as I usually like my machines to be, and that's very easily done. It's got some buttons up here on the left-hand side and fully on the left-hand side over here. So one of the great features is that you can turn the brightness up and down very easily, and you can see, you know, if you want it bright, if you want it dark, depending on your environment, like if you're in a library, if you're in a coffee shop or something like that and you don't want to bother the other person next to you. And it's got a bunch of settings. If you click this particular button right here next to the brightness rocker, it brings up a bunch of modes that you can you know, that you can change, and you can change the different temperature setting of the screen. You can go in and change the language setting, the H and V position, You can do a lot of things, which is really cool, and this is something that I've seen a lot of other XPPen devices. Very easy interface, and you can change a lot of the things that are indicative to the standard settings on the machine. We're not going to get into those because at the end of the day, this is again a review, not an in-depth overview of the machine, because we want to draw on it, right? So you also have the opportunity if you want to turn your touch off. So currently touch is on. If I click this button right here, okay, I can indicate touch off. So I need to do that with the rocker, I believe. So I do it with the button, so I just press it again. So now touch is completely off. Now that's really important to note because a lot of people do not like the touch feature, and this comes standard with the touch feature. So if you want to turn touch off, then that's up to you. I have touch on just because a lot of people order this machine specifically for that feature. And here's the power button. We're not going to turn it off, and it's very easy to just click it and it turns off. You notice there's two cables hooked up to the top. It's important to note that because one cable goes to the host machine, the other cable goes to a power source. Now you're like, well, wait a minute. I thought this machine could hook directly into the USB-C port on the computer and run like that. That's what it shows in the documentation. Yeah, but there's a little asterisk next to that, and it says if you want maximum brightness, you have to hook the power cable up to it, which I have. And it came, as I showed you in the packaging unboxing, it came with all the necessary cables to hook it up. So, what is it like to draw on? First of all, let's go ahead and go into Photoshop. I've got a predetermined document right here. Let's go ahead and add a layer. If you notice, again, I'm using the quick remote, also done by XPPen. I've got numerous remotes from other companies, from large companies to medium companies to small companies, and each one of them have great remotes. But I am loyal to this remote because this one has stuck with me through thick and thin, through probably 5 machines. I love the form factor. I love the buttons. It's got a little rubber back on the back. And I've actually reviewed this particular device. You can see that it's kind of worn out. But it lasts, it's lasted quite a long time. So I'm loyal to that. And if you have any questions regarding that programming and how things are programmed, you can actually go in and change the settings on the remote as per the program that you're using. So it's very simple to do. I'll link that video down in the description below on how I utilize this particular quickie device. So let's go ahead and make sure I close that window. Okay, so overall, like I said, this has the best drawing experience. First of all, the screen's bonded, which means there's no parallax. I cannot discern any parallax of the machine when drawing, which means that distance between the top of the screen and the bottom of the screen and the actual LCD that you're drawing on. So the pen, you have the top of the screen, the bottom of the screen, and then the LCD. So that distance right there is the parallax. And whenever you draw, a lot of times there's distance and there's a disconnect. So I literally cannot see any parallax at all. In terms of lag, that's going to depend obviously on your host machine and also the video card. This particular machine has an i5 processor made by, who's that by? I'm an idiot sometimes. Intel. So it's got an Intel i5 processor with a shared graphics card, and I believe it's an Iris graphics card. So it's able to run the host machine screen at 2K and then this particular screen at 4K, and I still don't have any kind of lag. So overall, like I said, the drawing experience has been fantastic. The pressure curve's really good at 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity, and as everybody needs to do, we need to do the wiggle test. Oh, the wiggle test. So this uses Windows Ink, and yeah, Windows Ink. Yeah, you can actually see a little bit of lag whenever I draw slow. But whenever I draw quick, there's no lag. Look at that. It's just instantaneous. There is 10% smoothing. I don't like smoothing. That's probably where that lag's coming from. Yeah. So let's go ahead and do a pencil test. We're going to do the vertical line test first. So I'm going to zoom in really quick. Okay, so I'm using a textured brush, which is not ideal. Let's use that brush right there. And I'm not going to do pressure. I'm not going to put pressure on it right now because I want to get the absolute best. So this is without a straight edge. This is the vertical. This is the horizontal. And again, this is without a straight edge. Okay, and we're going to go diagonal. Do it again. And this, again, I've said many times, is the type of test that brings out the worst in the technology. And this, again, is a machine that is slave to the host machine. So if the host machine's technology is faulty, such as the Windows Ink technology is, you will see it. I've got a Macintosh device, and from what I can tell on many of the other XPPen devices I've utilized, that wave does not exist on my Mac. So the wave is probably indicative of, you know, that algorithm that is in play whenever you're using Windows Ink. So let's go ahead and we're going to do the diagonal again. Now this is paper, and it is straight, but you have to understand that even that it is straight, there's probably going to be a slight variable. Yeah, but I'm not seeing, see, whenever you see stuff like this, let's go ahead and zoom in on that. Stuff like this is probably the paper, because if you look here, all the way to here is where I had complete straight line, right? And there's no issues. Now, if I were to draw a diagonal line and you were to see stuff like this, now I'm doing that, and there were constant dips and valleys that had equal measurement, then there would be an issue. But this machine, this particular screen, now you see how small I'm drawing, this particular screen is absolutely wonderful. I cannot express enough how good the drawing experience is on this machine. This does not have the X3 technology that they've recently developed for the XPPen series that are coming out now, but that doesn't matter. They've done something with this pen and this screen to really shore up the wonderful experience that is the Artist Pro 16 TP. So we're going to do some drawing. We're going to talk a little bit about drawing on electronic devices and displays, and what you need to kind of understand going into this. If you're looking at this particular machine as an option for you to add to an existing artist space, or if you're looking as a budget-minded 4K display, which comparatively you know, is price pointed maybe to a little bit more expensive machine, and you're looking at this as maybe an alternative. First of all, I've had machines or displays from all the big boys, right? Your Wacom, your Huion, of course your XPPen. I've also had them from cheaper suppliers, and frankly, this particular device is up there, right up there with some of the other higher echelon companies that are selling these displays for $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. This one, I believe, retails for $900, and you can get it on sale right now, I believe, for around $620, $630, $650. And of course, they're running sales all the time that, you know, you should take advantage of if you're really in the market for a device like this. Okay, so how do I use a device like this? First of all, at 16 inches, it is not a large display. It is not something that you're going to, I think, as somebody that's used to a large display, you might not want to go down to this small. Now, this is not small. This is a nice medium range. I think that we're going to do some circles while I talk. I think it's a great option for those that are maybe traveling, or if you're a beginner and you don't want to spend those big dollars on a big display, maybe a 22-inch high definition display or even a 24. I've seen one of the companies makes a 32-inch display, and frankly, I don't know what I would do with that. That thing is so big. This is a nice desktop companion that I'm probably going to utilize in my professional work, not only to do tutorials, but also maybe some sketch work, because the drawing experience is so good. My main machine is actually a XPPen 24 2K model. It's the Pro model, and it is absolutely lovely. It's a great size because I draw typically pretty big. But overall, this is not what I would consider to be tiny. You know, the only caveat that I would say that it really needs, and I mentioned this in the beginning, it would be a stand. Even if you went so far as to putting some of those little flip out indications on the back, and I talked about this during the unboxing, I wish that it definitely had, you know, a stand or some type of thing that I could put it up on. It does have a little rubber back right here, but at the end of the day, when I've got it in my lap, I've got these cables to deal with, and it's just not very, you know, sit down in the chair friendly. It is a desktop display that you really need to set up correctly, and plus it having that glass laminated display covering here, you don't want to drop it. Now, it does have a metal backing, which is really nice to the touch, but overall I think that once you start drawing on this thing, you'll realize how good it is, and you'll want to take care, you know, really good care of it. Okay, so what am I doing today? First of all, it is the Christmas season. You guys know that I love Christmas, and one of the things that I agreed to do, now this is just a warm-up, this is not the actual drawing, we're going to get to the actual warm-up or actual drawing here in a second, is the fact that Christmas is fun, right? So I've been doing some really great illustrations for my social media account that involve one of my favorite types of characters, and that is a Yeti. I love Yeti and Bigfoot. I love the history of it. I love the fact that, you know, there are so many different cultures that have names for the same creature. You know, do I believe there's a Bigfoot? I don't know. You know, that's kind of funny that I would even put that question out there, but I think it's fun to, you know, to have some fun, right? And to draw something. Yeti and Bigfoot in general, just fun characters. You can really imbue some really fun characterizations to them and just have a lot of fun with them. So that being said, what I did was I sketched out, no, we're not going to save, so we're going to go ahead and look at some Yetis. So these are the Yetis that I sketched out. I sketched these out a little while ago, and I think I brought these up on my program before. I know I've done it on my channel, but this is, did 12 days of Yeti. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I was doing 12 days of Yeti, and I was going to do a countdown on my social media, and of course life got in the way, and I just decided to go ahead and put it off for a while. And as you see, I had, and all these were done with a display device. So I'm also a traditional artist. I do paintings, I do greeting cards, not to market myself, but I'm traditionally trained, so I have a lot of understanding of how different materials work. And if you look around my table, you can see that I've got just markers, and I've got traditional media, and, you know, I do painting and watercolor and you name it. So whenever I sit down a lot of times at a device like this, I want it in a comfortable position. So I'll sit down and I'll draw maybe in a chair or something like that. And digital devices are really good for that because they are attached to a host device, or if it's a standalone tablet with a CPU in it, you can take it pretty much anywhere, similar to, you know, something made by Apple or Microsoft or one of those companies. But XPPen makes devices now that you can connect to a phone, which it blew my mind. You can connect things to a phone, and that's really cool. So digital devices have really revolutionized the way artists and illustrators and designers interface with their artwork. So back in the day, you had to do things traditionally, and you had to paint them and color them, you know, similar to what you would maybe find in a sketchbook. Whoops, I touched the screen. In a sketchbook such as this. So you can see these are all traditional drawings done with traditional media on paper, you know, pencil, and then we have, you know, really fun little characters and stuff like that. And actually, I'll be reviewing, these are stuff done for seasonal illustrations. I'll be reviewing some great products from XPPen soon. They're markers, so I'm really excited about that. But drawing in this way gives me a lot of leeway to make changes and pull, and I can give, you know, different effects as you zoom in, as we see this guy right here. I can get different effects. I can get airbrush effects, I can get splatter effects, and then even utilizing textured brushes. And this device has that 60 degrees of tilt. It also has 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity. And you're like, well, the more the pressure, the better, right? Maybe it'll double to 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. I'm not sure how that's going to work, because even whenever I had a computer that was paired with one of these, and I was only getting maybe 242 levels of pressure sensitivity, then it doubled to 440 or 460 or whatever it was, and then we went to 800, and then we went to 2200 or 2400 levels, and then we went all the way to 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. So whenever you look at that and you're thinking the more pressure the better, and that is great, except you're not going to notice a huge amount of difference when you're drawing in this scale, right? You're going to see a little bit better arc and smoothness, but where you're really going to notice it is whenever you get up to big brushes like this and you're drawing like this. You're going to get a lot smoother feel, and this particular device is one of those devices, again, with that 4K screen and the high levels of pressure sensitivity, just does something for that drawing experience. Now, it's really shiny, and that's one of my concerns whenever I first started drawing on this, is the reflectiveness of the screen sometimes can cause problems, especially if you have light in the back. But there is, believe it or not, a slight etched feeling. It's very slight, but I think that there are some companies out there that sell the frisket plastic film that goes over this to kind of get rid of some of that glare. I've got it in an angle that I don't really have issues with that, but it's already got a matte finish to it, so you know, I think that I'll be able to live with it overall. So you look at these and you're like, oh, these are fun, you know, it's going to take you forever to do some of those things. Well, just like I explained to a lot of people, I say you don't do everything at once. You do things a little bit at a time. So if you notice, I've gone in and I've colored some of these guys with, with that tongue-in-cheek and that humor involved in the color palette. You know, his name's Freddy, by the way, so Freddy the Yeti. And he goes in, these are all Christmas images, and then I went in and I started having some fun. If you follow me on social media, just look up Michael Clarida Arts, and you'll be able to find me pretty much. If you Google my name, it'll all just explode on the first and second pages. So here's a traditional one I did for Halloween, and then we come down here, and again, these are all made on XPPen devices. And you know, you're thinking, well, you know, you're an artist that's been in the market for a long time and you've done a lot of things. Yeah, but I know a good quality tool whenever I see it. So let's go, and especially I want high return versus investment. So XPPen is not the super top echelon whenever it comes to price point. They know that if they price their devices at a certain area, they're going to have better sales because their quality is way up. So just consider XPPen on your next purchase. I've used XPPen now for going on 2 years, and it replaced my existing Wacom 22 HD, which was a great machine, but whenever I got to that 2K on that 24-inch Pro, man, if they were to make a 4K with this type of technology at a 24-inch size, oh man, it would be like super awesome. So let's go ahead, and I've already done him. Let's go ahead and pick one really quick. Oh yeah, let's do that one right there. So what I like to do, let's go ahead and check the image size. So we're at 300 dpi at 15 by 8. So we're going to go ahead and save this as a separate document because I like to preserve my existing. So that's Yeti Ref 2. So let's do Freddie EDDY Coffee OFFE. Okay. For those of you who follow me on social media, just look up Michael Claret Arts. You can definitely see some fun stuff because I post stuff like this all the time. You know, I post reviews, I post characterizations, I post stuff. Now, if you notice, I'm starting to get a little bit of aggravation whenever I drag my hand here and there. So I can go ahead and do a couple things. I can turn off the touch. So now I won't have any issues. So I've got touch off, but I like to use their glove. They include this with the device whenever you order it. These are really popular now because, you know, whenever you're drawing and you've got the oils of your hands and they get on the screen, and then whenever you come away from it and then you come back, it's kind of gross and you got to clean it off. And they do include a cloth to clean it, but I like to use the gloves, and I just really like using this because it keeps things flowing, and with the screen being really smooth, it just makes me draw. It makes me draw faster. So let's go ahead and double click on that to get rid of the lock. Let's go ahead and edit, fill, foreground color. Oops. Now this isn't a tutorial today on how to draw. This is just experiencing the goodness that is the XPPen Artist Pro 16 TP. And I'm always conscious in letting people understand that this device may not be for you. And let's be realistic. Sometimes people like smaller devices. Some people like larger devices. Some people like different types of pens. Some people like the rubber grip on the pen. This one does not have the rubber grippy on the pen like some of the other devices they sell. Some people, you know, don't like spending, not exorbitant, they don't like spending money on electronic devices that frankly you have to get it in your possession for you to test it out. And that's what's good about these videos, is you can actually see what I'm doing in the context of the drawing experience. You know, a lot of people do the line test, a lot of people do the overview with some really pretty shots of the device. Now we can do that, but you're not going to see what it can actually do, and that's what I really want to put focus on, especially whenever you guys are going to be reviewing this in the YouTube channel. I want to be honest with you, and I want to say, yeah, if this sucks, it sucks. If it doesn't suck, then it doesn't suck. So in the drawing, we're going to go ahead and turn pressure on, and now you see that blink. Now we're going to do it again. It doesn't happen all the time. Now, one of the flaws that I think is happening, and this is something that I need to explain, it has nothing to do with the XPPen products, and it doesn't have anything to do with any of the tablet products that I review whenever I attach it to a Windows device. Windows and Photoshop doesn't play nice. So if I were to go ahead and do this, you see that right there? That blinking? That happens because of a Windows and Photoshop issue that has to do with the driver that is Intel. It's happened on pretty much all of my Windows devices. It even happened on one of the products that I had with an NVIDIA video card. So, tongue-in-cheek, make sure that you know that it's not the device. Don't call XPPen and say, it's blinking, the screen's blinking, I just don't get it. It doesn't happen on my Mac, okay? I haven't hooked it up to any Samsung or Chrome device, but if you're going to hook it up to the device here and you want to go to full screen, just know that you're going to have some challenges here and there whenever it comes to that blink. I still haven't figured it out, and I don't understand why it does it. So what I do is I just keep it in this configuration right here, where I have the wind. It doesn't do it all the time, but it definitely does it. So we're going to keep it right. Yeah, see, this is Windows right here. You get to see Windows in all of its glory. File, save. Okay, we're gonna zoom in. You're seeing all kind of goodness today. Look at that. So what's happening right now is Photoshop is malfunctioning, and this is a Windows Photoshop issue. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get out of here. Okay, so I did a real simple quick restart of Photoshop, and of course now we're back to where we need to be. Photoshop is funny. I don't laugh all the time whenever Photoshop does stuff, and it doesn't tend to do this in my Mac environment. It's mostly Windows, and I'm sure it has to do with the drivers as per the video card meshing in with Adobe. So don't go blaming your tablet display, you know. So I opened the Artist Pro 16TP 4K window that you can do some modifications if you need to calibrate it, if you need to identify the screen itself. You can actually modify your screen area as well. Then you go to the pen display. You can set proportion depending on how big your host machine is, display settings if you need to change the display settings on this particular device if you don't want 4K. And then you can actually go to the pen settings and you can set hardness. You can set pressure curve. I like my pressure curve right about here for Photoshop. And you can do this for individual programs, and you can also do it as a global setting. So I'm going to hit OK. And what's really cool too about this is you can go to the settings and you can export your configuration. It will export the configuration as a PCFG file. And if you were to go ahead and get rid of the entire driver, that file will stay where you put it, and you reinstall the driver and you import the settings, and it's like you didn't miss any of your settings at all. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and we're going to go ahead and get out of the interface, and we're going to do our test here. And I like that pressure curve. So let's go ahead, and you're going to watch me ink this character really quick. So Freddy the Yeti came about because I have a passion and a love for characters, and I wanted to develop a character that was simple but also fun, and you can inject different costumes and outfits and characterizations, and you know, as you saw just a few minutes ago. So this particular let's go ahead and drag that down. There we go. Sorry about that. Sometimes when I drag it down, it doesn't like to do that. As you see, I've got him in different costumes here. He's a weightlifter. He's just a happy-go-lucky guy going to school. Here he is as a lumberjack. I mean, you can literally do anything with this character and still have fun with it. And, of course, it being the Christmas season, I wanted to inject a little bit of holiday cheer for you guys. Yeah. Holiday cheer. So if you're wondering who I am, what I do in my professional career, my first name is Michael. My last name is Clarida. Very interesting last name. They removed some letters from my name back in the day whenever they first moved. My ancestors moved from Scandinavia and that whole area in Dutch. So it's really supposed to be, I've heard it's supposed to be either Claraden or Clariday. So either one of those, it has its roots in Dutch Scandinavia, and not easy to pronounce. A lot of people think it's Spanish, but it's not, because the word clarida is Spanish for clear, transparent, pure. I know this because, oops, let's give him a little tooth. Because throughout my life, I've had numerous Spanish teachers indicate that my name was Spanish. Oh, you are Spanish. No, I don't have a Latino heritage, but I definitely have had people murder my last name throughout my entire life. So anyway, so yeah, I am an illustrator, artist. I've been doing illustration and art for over 22 years. Let's get that pinky coming out right there. And I've been doing my YouTube channel since 2014. So I've really enjoyed reviewing products, being an artist. I live in the mountains of North Georgia, pretty much in the middle of nowhere, on a farm in a holler. So if you're thinking, you know, for those of you who have ever heard of the of the movie Deliverance, then that was actually filmed very close to here, right up the road. So Deliverance was a movie about the Appalachian culture, you know, before the advent of the internets and whatnot. It was made, I believe, in the late 70s, and it got some, you know, critical acclaim and whatnot. But it showed that the Appalachian culture is very secluded, and that's one of those things where you just have to kind of accept where you are, and the people and the culture here is different than what you would normally, you know, expect. And that's probably by design, and it's a good thing, because if you come here, it really separates you from the city life and puts you in a mindset of calm, and that's good. So I've really enjoyed being here. We live on a farm, and the people here are very friendly, and it's like I said, not for everybody. If you want to go down and, you know, go shopping at the mall's about 2.5 hours away. So we literally live in the mountains. It's just been a wonderful experience for me and my family overall. And like I said, it's not for everybody. So we've noticed a lot of people since we had the pandemic have moved here, and a lot of times the questions we'll get is, well, what do you do for fun? Well, you can go cruise the Walmart parking lot. And they're like, what? Yeah, that's a thing. So you just have to take it with a grain of salt, I guess, right? And they're like, well, what kind of restaurants do you have? Do you have good Italian? Well, yeah, not really. We do have some restaurants, and we've got some great people that have moved here, and they've created some great opportunities for eating, but overall it is a very secluded place. I mean, think if you were to go, you know, in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, and you were to basically build a house, and that's kind of what it is. So, okay, what am I doing right now? I'm utilizing the underdrawing, to put in my final line. You notice that I'm not really quote-unquote tracing. I'm using that underdrawing as a guide, because that underdrawing, even though good, technically okay, it is still an underdrawing, and I need to finalize my line work. So I'll go in and I'll put some little details, like here's some little elastic on the sweater, and we're gonna put, you know, maybe it's a little sweater, so we'll give a couple little doohickeys that are coming out here and there, right? You know, Freddie he loves his coffee. He's like me. I love coffee. I am a coffee connoisseur. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I love the way it tastes, it smells, it's an experience. It's not just a drink. It is a comfort. Right? It is a comfort. So if you look, I've got Freddie doing a lot of things. Eddie is actually his brother. So I'm going through, and I'm just, you know, again, he's got PJs on. So I've got to make sure. So he's got his PJs. Make sure this line comes down. Right? Okay. He's got his Christmas PJs on. Christmas PJs. And you see, no hiccups, right? I'm not getting disconnect from the pen. I'm not getting false positives. Let's go ahead and turn on. I'm not getting false positives because I've got touch off. Of course I'm not getting a false positive. It's off. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and start putting some of the... Now, also, one of the things that, you know, we have to remember about these devices is they are devices, right? I tell people that get really upset at their computers that, you know, start having so many, get angry. Dude, I've seen people like launch their computers, and granted, there have been, you know, some times whenever I have had some, you know, computer issues, but in that moment when I'm like, I'm just going to destroy you, I'm thinking you just need to walk away, right? Computers have issues, and you know, no computer is outside the possibility of having issues. And you know, there have been issues that I've had with XPPen devices, but I'm going to tell you something. This is something that a lot of companies don't do, and a lot of customers looking at XPPen don't realize, and also people that own XPPen devices, because there's not a lot of problems. XPPen will go the extra mile, and I know this because I had an issue with a driver, and it was on my Mac, and it wouldn't do certain things, and I'm like, why won't you save my settings? Why am I constantly having to go back and reset stuff? Why am I having to do this? Why am I having to do that? It's aggravating. So I contacted XPPen. And granted, I have a relationship with XPPen, right? I've done many reviews for them. And, you know, they are basically there to help. And I've known, you know, certain other artists that have owned their products as well. XPPen is there to help you. So they said, okay, well, what's going on? And I told them the issue, and they tried to replicate the issue on their side, and then they ended up sending me a modified driver for my specific situation. That is absolutely insane. When you think about it, a huge company like that sending me over to their tech department, and the tech department didn't know that I had, you know, I was doing review stuff for XPPen, and they were like, hello, Mr. Clarida, we heard that you're having issues, you know, we'd love to help out. How can we be of assistance? And within 3 days, I was going back and forth. He kept emailing me and asking me. He would do screen grabs, and he would look at the problem, and he would say, okay, is it like this? What is it doing? And eventually he sent me the updated driver, which was not available per se to the general public. And then, you know, he kept coming back and saying, hey, how's it working? And then I was kind of like a beta tester. And you know, I talked to a couple of other people that had the same experience that did not do reviews for XPPen. So they will utilize you as a resource. Not only you are going to them for solutions, but man, how awesome is that? I'm going to give an example. I had an XPPen, or not an XPPen, I had a Wacom Cintiq Companion that the power port broke as a design flaw, and it was a well-known design flaw, and I had bought the Companion from Wacom. It was very expensive, and they basically said, have a nice day. You know, you can send it in to get fixed for $600, or you can buy a new one, or, you know, just have a nice day. And it was just, it made me so angry, because you spend so much money on these devices, and the companies that do this stuff just throw you to the wind. XPPen ain't like that. They are not like that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm always singing their praises, because they're awesome, and the people there are really nice, and it's just, you know, I'm a brand kind of guy. The brand treats me good, I'm going to be with you forever. And that's something that we all kind of have in our brains, you know. If a brand treats us really good, then we're going to be with them as long as possible. And if they come out with new products, you know, money is hard to come by nowadays, especially if you're an artist. Definitely consider them as an option. So here we are, we're in Photoshop, working on the XPPen Pro 16 TP. And so far, you can see that I haven't really had any hiccups. And this particular character, we're just having fun with him, right? So we'll do this. Have this little thumb right there. Actually, the anatomy's not right, so we're going to have that come up like that. I had to change the anatomy there. Drawing Freddy the Yeti. Just having some fun, right? I recently had a company that wanted to license Freddy for their products, and they were going to pay me $20 per drawing finished for a year license and 5% of the royalties. And honestly, I'm at a point in my career where that's just not good enough. You know, I developed the character, I created the name, I did the sketches, and you're going to go and spend, and you're going to go make 95% profit off of me? I don't think so. So I just said, thank you, you guys, I really appreciate the offer, but have a nice day. So, anyway, that being said, we're going to go ahead and put you over to Clip Studio Paint. real quick. Now you're like, well, why don't you just do it in Photoshop? And I'm going to show you why I don't do my color block in Photoshop. So we're going to go ahead and hit save. Again, I've got this programmed. We're going to hit that button right there and it saves. So we're good to go. We're going to launch this one, Clip Studio Paint. And again, so now the program's launched. Look over here. You can see it automatically has the settings pre-programmed in for the pen remote. So let's go ahead and click File, Open. Where did he go? Freddy the Editor F2. Where is he? Freddy Coffee. Yay! Okay, we're going to add a layer. And he's got his little sweater on. He's so cute. Okay, so let's go ahead, double click here. For those of you not familiar with this program, Clip Studio Paint is a great program. They used to be purchase and they went to a subscription model and people threw a fit, but it's still a great deal. It is a wonderful program, very comparable to Photoshop, can actually open Photoshop documents in layers with layer effects without any issues. Generally speaking, you know, there might be an issue here and there. I don't know, sometimes it happens. But overall, you're seeing that I'm just going in and blocking in my color. And what's cool too is it's got this great paint bucket feature, and you can just, you set a particular layer as a reference layer, and then it will utilize that as a reference layer, similar to what happens in Procreate, for those of you who utilize that program. So I like this because it gives me a lot of control and I don't have a lot of issues, and it's quick. So you notice I've already blocked in. Yeah. Okay, so I've got that in. So now let's go ahead, and we want to get the right color. Let's go ahead and see, it preserved all the settings that I had from Photoshop. So let's go ahead and we'll get the color for his face. That little remote is just, phew. I don't know what I would be without my XPPen remote, guys. Like I said, there are other companies that make remotes, so don't think that I'm thinking that's quote-unquote the bee's knees. But I've used it for a while, and it's what I'm used to, and it's very simple. It doesn't have a lot of stuff going on. It doesn't have an LED screen with lightning bolts shooting out of it, which would be scary, to be honest with you. You see how fast this is going, because again, having the control that the digital environment affords me is wonderful, right? Okay, there's got little things right there. Yeah, it's got little claws here and there. So let's do this. Come back. Now we're going to do his tootses, his little tootses. Okay. So what I'm going to do, just because I know this video is getting long and drawn out, and you're seeing the prowess of this device, I'm not having any issues. It's very fast. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on time lapse so you can watch the color process, and we'll do a final wrap up at the end. Okay? Enjoy. where we landed with this particular device. So, overview. My gosh, what a great machine this is. What a great display. I've drawn at a lot of displays. You know, I've been in the market and doing stuff illustration wise with digital devices since 1997, 98. And that is really before the whole evolution of, you know, the digital displays have come out. It was before 4K, 2K, it was before HD, and I had the opportunity to draw on devices, not only the devices that sit, you know, the tablets, and then we've gotten into the display tablets. And I've seen the evolution go from, okay, it's not great and it's a whole new technology, and now we've moved into, you know, the norm, you know, being the mid 2000s, 2010, 12, 13, 14. And then we started to come into a completely new era of technology with your 2K, your HD, your 2K, your 4K, and possibly 8K, and some, you know, displays that are super expensive out there, that are incredibly realistic to look at. But this machine, in comparison to some of the other machines that I've reviewed and used over the past, I'd say 3 to 5 years, this one really surprised me the most, because I've reviewed other display tablets from XPPen, and and I've reviewed other tablets from other vendors and retailers. This one really surprised me because, first, I'm not a touch guy. I don't care about the touch. I don't care. How do I say? I've owned Surface devices. I've owned Lenovo. I've owned Dell. I've owned all of that. And honestly, you know, I owned an HP ZBook, and those had touch, and it was so aggravating because a lot of times you start using them and the touch feature is not great. So I decided to leave it on this machine, and there were a couple moments when I didn't wear a glove, that because you know, a lot of people don't wear the glove, that I wanted to make sure and really test the boundaries. And there are a couple times that I got kind of aggravated and I turned touch off. But overall, the touch feature is wonderful. The screen saturation is great. The blacks are very black. The contrast is wonderful. The weight, fit, and finish of the machine, as I stated before, is wonderful. The overall, you know, balance, and I talk about balance and investment versus return and some of those other things whenever I do reviews, and the balance of the machine is so good. Like, it's got incredibly bright, it's the fit and finish and the quality. Then you have all the other things that I noted, the wonderful screen, the touch feature that you can turn on and off. They've really gone in and thought about a lot of the things that cater to the illustrator and artist. Now, does it have quick keys? No, it does not have quick keys. That's one of the things that I look at as being a pro machine, and you're like, well, you really should have quick keys on it. And I understand, you know, why they didn't do that, because if you add the quick keys, that's more complication. That drives the price up, and they wanted to probably keep this machine under $1,000. And when you start adding those elements, it drives the price up. So, as you guys know, I use my quick key remote from XPPen, which I love. So that's not an issue for me. The really large borders that you're seeing, and when the entire market is going to the borderless, you know, full screen display, and I'm not really sure why we're doing that. I like having that black on the side where I can move it, or I can have it, you know, on the side, and I don't really need, or I can put little stickies and stuff like that. I'm not drawing on the edge. I'm not going to the edge and drawing, right? Most of my work happens right in the center. And so I don't really have an issue with the dark borders. So price point, I think this thing retails for $8.99, and whenever you take that into context, the return on the investment is huge. You get 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity. You get saturation of the RGB Adobe gamut. Just to tell you, I've got my cheat sheet here. So in terms of pressure sensitivity, 8,192 levels. We have a display resolution of 3480 by 2160, which is 4K. And then we move on to the color gamut, 92% of Adobe RGB, 124% of sRGB, and 88% NTSC. If you care about those numbers. And then we get into 60 degrees of tilt, the resolution at 5080 LPI lines per inch, and the contrast is 1000:1. It does have 2 USB-C ports. Now, I did talk about that in the beginning, the 2 USB-C ports, and you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. So this one goes to the computer, and if you're going to turn that brightness all the way up, that one goes to a power port. Now, I did plug it in just with this, and it was a little dark. And me, for my workflow, I need a higher contrast, brighter screen. And that's something that you might want to consider whenever you're getting this device. Do I think you could take this to a coffee shop? Probably, but you know, let's look at a 16-inch monitor there. XPPen sells a myriad of different products, different price points, different sizes. They got a 10-inch, they got an 11-inch, they got a 12-inch, they got a 13-inch, they got a 15-inch, 15.6, they got a 16-inch, they got a 22-inch, they got a 24-inch. Literally, they're kind of putting these tablets for people that, don't necessarily want to get the really big tablets, and now they've got them to where they connect to phones. So overall, I loved this machine. It was great. I love drawing on it. I'm probably gonna inject it into my workflow. That's how good it is. I will typically review a tablet and then I'll rebox it up and I'll stick it on the side, or I'll use it as a display, for drawing. I don't typically use the product after I review it, but this one was very good. So there are, how do I say, there are lots of sales, there are coupons, there are temporary sales. So that $8.99 price point, probably you can get it for cheaper. Black Friday, I'm sure they're going to do a great sale on Black Friday. I'm sure during Christmas and the holidays they're going to do a great sale. I just think that for the money, for the investment, I mean, golly, man, I was blown away by the drawing. Now, XPPen also has other products in their market, from their 16-inch Pro series, and then they've got an Artist series, which caters to the artist and illustrator, that has the X3 technology that has to do with activation and pen activation, and also with any parallax and accuracy of drawing with pressure sensitivity. I like that technology, but honestly, this pen, I don't know what they did. I don't even know where it is. I don't know what they did with this pen, because it is wonderful. Here it is. This pen right here, the only thing that I would probably say that it needs is, here we go, we lost our screen. Here we go. So the only thing that I would say that it probably needs is a little rubber for grip. I like having the rubber grip. Some people don't like having that. Now, you could possibly purchase something that works for you, but overall, man, what a great machine this is. And as you can see, I was able to create this lickety-split very quickly. And I hope you guys didn't click away from all my words. I just want, whenever you find a product and you're super excited about it, and you're like, gosh, I love this product, I just can't stop talking about it. And it's not because they're paying me to do this. They didn't pay me to do anything. I love good products. I love good product design. I love when it works. I love, good packaging. My exuberance for things like this, whenever it is seamless. It's one of those things where I didn't have any issues installing the driver. I didn't have any issues opening the package. I didn't have any issues setting things up. Now, obviously, it doesn't have a stand, but I was able to alleviate that, and you can too. They offer stands for sale on their website, and also, if you just don't want to do that, I used to actually use stuffed animals to set my tablets up. And there is a solution for everything. So don't look at that as the massive negative that I can't purchase this device because it doesn't come with a stand. There are solutions there, obviously. So that is my deal when it comes to the Artist Pro 16 TP pen display by XPPen. I am looking forward, and this is one of the things, this will be the final couple words. I am so looking forward to the next year. What is going to happen with XPPen? What is going to happen with their competitors? What is going to happen in the market? You know, we had our little, it wasn't little, it was huge, the global issue that rose that really started affecting supply chain. It started affecting chipsets. It started affecting people's lives, and in a not so great way. And what that forced them to do was to streamline, was to innovate. You know, we all ended up getting into our abodes and our studios, and we reflected on what was really important. And our dollars are very important, and this being a feature-packed piece of technology, it's definitely worth your dollars. And I think that the innovation that's going to happen in the next year, man, they're so excited. They've been innovating and they've been experimenting with new technologies, and I just can't wait to see what's going to happen. So that's pretty much it. So hopefully you enjoyed the review process. I know that I got a little excited, so hopefully it won't deter you from coming back. I've got over 600 videos on this channel. It's hard to believe, and we're definitely doing a lot of really new, different things. I'm going to start getting into traditional media, and look out for the next review coming up, which is going to be markers. You guys know that I love markers, and XPPen sent me a collection of their latest and greatest marker set. So as you see in my traditional world, I've got a little bit of a marker collecting problem. So hopefully you guys will tune in for that. I love doing traditional media. So go out and chase and draw those horizons that are in front of you, and just enjoy life day by day so you can enjoy the ones around you. Okay? Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.